What's up, everybody? I'm your friendly neighborhood DoolieRay, and today we are going to be talking about something very exciting. Now, this is not official. This is a beta for Hulkbuster. Most people know about it, but Hulkbuster is going to go from being a bit of a noodle. Hulkbuster and friends, ba-doo-doo, ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, ba-doo-doo, ba-doo-doo-doo-doo-doo, to a full-on actual defeater of the Hulk. So, if we want to take a look at his abilities here, he has had a few changes. His awakened ability, he gains armor rating, he gets an armor up, and he puts armor breaks onto the opponent, so he's pretty good. Thanks for watching. Psych! Now, this is the old Hulkbuster. So, the new beta Hulkbuster has a few different changes. He has some new abilities, and they're very exciting. He's got a lot more damage potential and a lot more utility as well. So, comparatively speaking, this is a massive step up in terms of ability. Now, just on the base level, comparing stats here, the old Hulkbuster had more health but less attack. And this new Hulkbuster has a little bit less health and a little bit more attack to begin with, just on the base stats. The exciting thing, though, are the Hulkbuster's abilities here, which I'm just going to kind of brush through right now, and then we'll get into some fights so that I can actually show you how they look in practicality. So, to start off, Hulkbuster does not need to be awakened to be good. At this point, I think a lot of people may have Hulkbuster awakened on most levels, but if you get like a 6-star Hulkbuster, he doesn't need to be awakened to have most of his useful abilities. The awakened ability is kind of similar to other Iron Man characters in this game, where he'll activate a regeneration if he gets stunned, goes away. I think, it'll be helpful in certain situations, but really not something you should depend on or expect to be super helpful. So don't rely on the awakened ability. That's not super great. It's the rest of these abilities, though, that really make him a very useful champion. So when you're using Hulkbuster, you are going to be in what's called the Giant Buster mode. What that's going to do is it's going to increase your attack rating based on how large the opponent is. So if you're fighting extra large opponents, your attack is going to be higher. If you're fighting really small opponents, going to be smaller. So maybe not the best character to use to fight against Spider-Man or those little teeny tiny guys, Ant-Man, and then beyond that, every shock debuff that you have on the opponent will increase your attack as well. And there's a very simple way to put shock debuffs onto the opponent. You just use a heavy attack. 10 seconds, you get a shock debuff. Increases your attack. Pretty great. Now, a lot of this I can't test out because some of his abilities do focus on the defensive side of things. So on defense, I don't think it's going to be too difficult, but it kind of increases what a long time ago, when Alliance War was much different than it is now, Hulkbuster was actually kind of decent just because he had so much health and so much armor. It was really hard to just muddle through beating that up, and that kind of plays into this as well, where he's going to get a lot of armor, he's going to reduce crit rating, it's going to be a pain in the butt to take him down, but I don't think it's going to be too difficult because he's still the same Hulkbuster that we know and love. In terms of animations, in terms of abilities, just watch out for his special attacks, and don't get hit by a heavy attack. That's about it. Now, he gains certain abilities from armor ups. Nothing too insane, nothing to really go into detail on. You want to watch out for this when you're actually fighting against him, because he has a 60% chance to consume one armor up and put a shock debuff on you if you hit him with a critical hit. So Hulkbuster may be somebody that is going to be a bit more tricky. He's going to start hitting harder because of that. So just keep an eye out. Don't be surprised when that does happen. And it may. This is all beta, again, so none of this is set in stone. This is the current state of Hulkbuster, and I'm hoping that this carries over and they don't nerf anything about this, just because it's not game-breaking. He's going to be a good option for a lot of different circumstances, but he's not going to be the best option for most of them, like a lot of the buffs that they've already done. His special attacks are pretty exciting here. They've kind of done the same thing as they did with Colossus, where they've made his special attacks unblockable. So a lot of the time you'll want your opponent to be blocking, and then you'll throw your special into them when they are blocking because it's unblockable, and if you do break their block, it actually does extra damage to them. Like on the special 1, it'll increase the duration of the stun effect. I think the special 2 is really what you're going to want to be looking at, because this is where you're going to get power control with Hulkbuster. He has power control now. So he actually, he will put power lock onto the opponent, and if you hit them while they're blocking, then you actually power burn them with each beam attack that you hit them with on the special 2. So you basically drain a lot of power, and it's very, very handy. Now the special 3 can be used as well. It drains 50% of the opponent's power, so if it comes down to it, that can be very helpful. It also has a chance to inflict up to 3 shock debuffs, so that can increase your damage for a bit. I think the special 2, though, is where you're going to find the most effective use for Hulkbuster. Now, what I've done here, I could take him up to max level, and we could look at those huge, gigantic numbers, but there's plenty of videos already out there on that, and I just want to be a bit more realistic about it, because I have a Hulkbuster, just a normal Hulkbuster, that I believe is sitting at rank 2 at the moment, and I have gems from Variant that can take up 2016, 2015 characters. I'm not sure. I think a lot of people may be in the same boat and are likely going to be considering this as an option. I think you should rank up Hulkbuster if he does end up carrying over these abilities to the actual game from the beta. But realistically speaking, I don't know if I would actually put rank 5 resources into him unless I ended up in a situation where it would really benefit me to do that, but I definitely see myself taking him up to rank 4. And so for the beta, I just want to test out Hulkbuster at rank 4 and see what kind of work can actually be done with him. Now, he's going to have a lot of new uses in the game that we're going to have to get used to. This is so exciting! There's so many characters that have been buffed now, and Hulkbuster, if this goes through, is going to be so just incredible. Now, I'm going to take him into a variant quest, because the Ant-Man chapters here are based on size, and I think Hulkbuster is going to be really, really great if you haven't already done this variant, because he is an extra large character. Now, I've brought in a team of characters. Hulkbuster does have some new synergies, I guess I didn't really go into detail on. The one that I like most is the one he has with Yellow Jacket, where launching a special attack will convert an armor up into a Fury buff that lasts for 10 seconds and buffs his attack. He's got some other things. This Hulk synergy I don't see as being too entirely helpful. This engineering experts may be helpful, actually. Depending on the situation, you can reduce offensive ability accuracy. That can be pretty nice. And then he's just got some basic crit and health stuff going on there. So, anyways, getting into this chapter here. He is an extra large character, so his attacks cannot be glanced. If you bring in characters that are smaller, then you're going to have a lot of trouble in this variant. This is Winter Soldier. I've seen a lot of Hulkbuster fights against Winter Soldier, so let's just mess around here. I brought in normal Hulkbuster at the same level as this beta Hulkbuster. Yeah, so let's see what the old Hulkbuster looks like in terms of damage. So on the mediums, looks like 636 was the, 636 without crit. With crit, it was like 1,000 something. Let me see if I can get another crit. The light attacks are doing 400 damage. Medium attacks are doing 600, 1100, and 1700. So 1700 crit on a medium. Let's use his special 2 and get some power control. Oh wait, we're not using Beta Hulkbuster. There is no power control to be had. Oh my goodness, that's crazy. So, wow, this is a little bit miserable. I can't wait to see you go goodbye forever. I'm ready for Hulkbuster to be actually buffed. I'm going to be very disappointed when this beta goes away, because I have been messing around with the new Hulkbuster, and I've gotten used to it, and it's going to be weird to just have this Hulkbuster left over. There we go. And that only took how many hits? It only took 130. Wow. Okay. So let's go ahead. This next fight is going to have class advantage, yes. But you're about to see the updated version of Hulkbuster here and what he can do. Let's see this. Okay. So I think one thing that I've noticed about a lot of the buffs that they put in the game, they're very heavy oriented, which I'm not sure what exactly they're going for there. But if you'll notice, I'm just using heavy attacks here to get shock debuffs onto Wolverine. That increases my attack, and I'm just going to wait, keep doing that until I get to a special 2, really. And then once I do get to a special 2, let's see if I can get him to block. Okay, go back and block. Go back and block. I didn't mean to intercept you there. I was just trying to wait for you to block. There we go. So I break his block, Boom, drain his power, just like that. And then he's power locked for a little bit as well. Very nice. There's a way to get people cornered, and while they're cornered, just spam heavy attacks. I don't know if Kabam's going to let that slip through. 19,000 on a special one. I don't know if Kabam's going to let that slip through. They might change something to do with that just so people can't sit in the corner and spam heavy attacks. That seems a little bit broken to me. But at the same time, maybe it does make Hulkbuster more effective, so it may be something they leave. Now, Crossbones is going to be a harder fight because he does shrug off stuns, or he has a chance to at least. And he shrugs off debuffs in general, so without debuffs, how good is this Hulkbuster? So, I got 1,700 on a medium crit, I think. I just got 2,200 on that one. So there's the just general increase in attack. Now, let's see. Yeah, this is going to be a lot trickier of a fight, because he does shrug off debuffs. My shocks are not sticking. Okay. See if you can get him to block. Let's get him to use the special 1 then. Actually, we drained 50% of his power with the special 3, so we don't even have to worry about it. Let's see where this puts his power. Okay. Now let's deal some damage while he's got the shock debuffs up. Boom. You got a 7,000 crit on the medium. 20,000 on the special 2. Okay, now we're in that other phase. We're in the final phase. Let's see how much regeneration we get out of this. We're climbing. It activated at like 13%, I think. So we'll finish him there. Boom! And it brought us all the way up to 47%. So it's not terrible. It's not quite like Iron Man's. Iron Man's is a lot faster. This one is much, much slower. So it's not really something you should rely on to save you in situations where maybe you're fighting against debuffs or that type of thing. But it's not useless entirely. Alright, against Yellow Jacket here. We can play this more normally. Boom. And he's dead. So there you go. Hopefully that explains it, kind of points it out for you. You know, what uses Hulkbuster now has. A lot of new abilities. I think there's a lot more detail on it. I've seen a lot of people do much more with the character than I've been able to do here, and I guess that'll just come over time when you get more skill with this character. But, you know, in terms of this buff, where do I rate it? I say it's a better buff than they did for Luke Cage. I would put him along the lines of, say, Red Hulk, maybe, in terms of usefulness. He's not at the level of She-Hulk and Colossus, who I would say are kind of the top of the buff, but Red Hulk had a really good buff. He's actually really good character that I use all the time as a 6-star, and I think Hulkbuster is going to be on that same level. He's got power control, he's got utility there, he does have a lot of damage potential. There are weaknesses that he does have if he's fighting somebody that's shock immune or debuff immune. You know, if he can't stun people, he uses heavy attack or power control them, you know, then you're going to struggle. But, you know, Havoc will be a fun fight. He'll have a lot of armor up buffs. He'll be a really great option for Havoc now. He'll have class advantage as well. So I think I'm going to rank up Hulkbuster. And if there's a Havoc, I'm not going to bring in Colossus. I'm going to bring in Hulkbuster for that fight. And a lot of other fights too. I'm excited if this does go through. Hulkbuster is going to be such a fun character, and he's actually going to live up to the name Hulkbuster and not Noodle Buster. So there you go, guys. Let me know what you think of Hulkbuster in the comments down below. If there's any questions you have, I am in the beta, so I will be able to test things out. But yeah, until I see you next, you hang in there. May the RNG be with you, and peace out.